Talk Show. Recorded live.
Hello and welcome to Castle of Horror, the show dedicated to horror, movies, and awesomeness. And this week we complete our retrospective on the Poltergeist series with the brand new 2015 Poltergeist. Bear in mind, if you haven't seen today's movie, and this is very important because this movie is still in the theaters, so listen. We're going to be talking about it from the perspective of horror movie fans.
Still, but it literally just came out like a couple days ago.
Yeah, like it's brand new. So we're going to talk about it like we've seen it, and we're going to spoil it. So warning, spoilers ahead. From Denver, Colorado, I'm your host, Jason Henderson, creator of the Alex Van Helsing novels. With me from Austin is Drew Edwards, writer for Rockabilly Online and creator and writer of the long-running comic Halloween Man. Say hello, Mr. Drew.
Hello, Mr. Drew.
Yes. Also in Austin, special guest Jamie Barr, musician, pinup model, educator, and lead vocalist and upright bassist for Austin's premier all-female rock and roll band, Danger Cakes, who we saw recently in Denver, and it was a great show. You can find them and their latest album, Dessert First, from Deep Eddy Records at Danger Cakes.
Actually, their latest album would be Quarter Life Crisis.
Quarter Life Crisis. My notes were wrong. Yeah, but no, I know Quarter Life Crisis, and I apologize. So their latest album is Quarter Life Crisis, and I apologize. And welcome, Jamie.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
And also joining us from Denver, as always, color commentary from attorney Julia Guzman. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. All right. According to Wikipedia, Poltergeist is a 2015 American 3D horror film directed by Gil Keenan, written by David Lindsay-Abaire, and produced by Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, a reboot and remake of producer Steven Spielberg's and director Tobe Hooper's 1982 film of the same name. This film stars Sam Rockwell, Rosemary DeWitt, Jared Harris, and Jane Addams. The film was released on May 22, 2015 by 20th Century Fox. It received mixed reviews from critics, and at this point has grossed over $26 million. So let's get our opening thoughts, and we'll try to keep these fairly short, and then we'll go into it. Julia, opening thoughts, what did you think about the new Poltergeist?
Okay, so I'm probably going to be the dissenting voice of the group because I had really low expectations going into this film because I thought it looked really dumb, but it actually surprised me. I actually kind of liked it. Now, I mean, compared to the original, it's not even like fraction as good, and there are about it, but there were some neat things that I really enjoyed, so I'm not going to nitpick the stuff I didn't like right just yet.
Okay.
But I liked it better than I thought I was going to.
All right. Okay. So a starting gun of I did not hate this film, Julia. So, Drew, what's your response to that?
I thought this movie was simultaneously more cynical and yet much less artistic than the original. This very much felt like a what passes for a low grade spook show these days. And if the original movie is about the American dream, my feeling of walking away from this movie is unfortunately that the American dream is dead and buried. And I wish that makes this sound like this is a very thought-provoking movie, and unfortunately it's not. So,
wow.
I just wish there had been some more care put into the script, because there's some good actors that were wasted on a subpar update. Like, they could have done so much better than this.
Wow, very good. Okay. Jamie, first of all, welcome back. I don't think we've talked to you on the show in quite a while, but it's so exciting. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What was the last thing that you covered on the show? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember.
Was it The Exorcist?
Oh, it was
maybe, yeah. I think it was The Exorcist.
Right. Okay, all right. Gosh, was it maybe The Exorcist Legend? The Exorcist.
The third one, I think. I got
Legion.
stuck
Exorcist
with.
Legion. That's right. All right, very good.
Well,
all right.
I like this movie more than that movie, but I still wouldn't say that it's a great movie by any means. Like I found it entertaining enough, but I was really disappointed as the original was one of my favorite movies, and even though I wasn't expecting much, I feel like it delivered on me not expecting much. I found myself really disappointed on a lot of the story arcs that revolved around the characters being, female. Suddenly, the mom's part where she was the hero of the first movie is suddenly given away to, the son, basically. And, where else, that, in a way where it's like, okay, great, but it's still having a man having to rescue the woman, so that kind of bothered. And still in the end, every strong female part was reduced to either a man or just,
Wow,
taken
well
completely.
said.
So, well, thanks.
It's funny. It's not fair of me to say well said just because I kind of agree with you on everything you said, but
it bothered me. It really bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, that was one thing about, and I feel like it's, like, I can get over, not a lot of the little nuances of the movie that weren't, going to make it be this wonderful cinematic event, but I can't forgive that. That's one thing I'm just...
Well, and the funny thing is, it probably wasn't... Every choice you make is a trade, right? And so you go, you know what, we're going to switch this from the hero from this character to this character, but what are we giving up and what are we gaining? And what I don't get in a lot of these choices, which we're going to get into them, is I get that a trade was made. I don't understand what was gained by the trade. And
that's how I felt, too.
Yeah. So, okay, my feeling, less than Poltergeist 3. This is a far superior work than Poltergeist 3. I would probably place it above Poltergeist 2, and I know that you would disagree with me.
That's crazy talk.
However,
this movie doesn't even the special effects.
Drew,
Come on.
This is his time now.
No.
Okay, well, we can argue about that one. We can argue about which is a worse film, Poltergeist 2 and Poltergeist 2015. But those are the terms of the argument. I mean, I thought this was fairly well made. I was okay with the special effects, but I was...
They're terrible!
Look, I don't even care at this point. I was profoundly disappointed in the lack of understanding of humans in this movie. I feel like somehow, if we assume that 1982 Poltergeist represented the best that Hollywood had to offer in putting a story together, and this movie offers the best that Hollywood has to offer in putting a story together today, somehow some terrible rock has fallen and cracked humanity on the skull and made us incapable of telling a human story anymore. I was just appalled at every ounce of emotion and meaning and purpose was just sucked out of the 1982 film and replaced with literally nothing. I other than Jane Addams. I like Jane Addams, but I don't understand. So she was fine, and she's such a minor character that it doesn't even matter. So that's where I'm going to start. I know that that's coming off a little strong, so we'll see if I can defend all that. But I found myself really disappointed in the emotions of the movie. I should say though, it's a decent roller coaster. I mean, it worked in that sense. There were jumps for me, and so forth. But I felt myself saddened by the film, and not in a good way. So okay,
I agree with that very much.
Thank you. Okay. Where I'd like to start is talking about class. And, at first I was really kind of intrigued, but I wasn't quite sure where the movie was going to go, because the last movie opens with the family already having been in this house for a while.
Yeah, they're just
Carol Ann was born in it.
Yeah, Caroline was born in it, and she's like, however old she is, she's like 6 years old or something. And in this one, we begin with, just like in Amityville Horror.
Okay, so I will say, like I said, I didn't hate the movie, but I did not like the beginning of the movie because I think it's ridiculous. So many things about the beginning of the movie are silly.
Yeah.
There's no reason whatsoever to even waste time with the whole buying of the house because having bought houses myself with my husband, I can tell you that you lose your job, you don't buy a house right then. There's no way you get laid off of your job and then tell the realtor, oh, yeah, I just lost my job, but we'll take this one. You don't buy a house when you just lost a job. They're not even going to give you the money. Yeah, they're not going to give you the loan.
And she also, the wife doesn't work either. She's like, oh, I'm a mother to my kids. I'm going to be a writer while my husband is unemployed.
It would have been way better if they would have, I mean, if they felt like they needed to both be out of work, fine. But then they could have just moved into their new house. There's no reason to have even the selecting of the house. I mean, just have the house. Move into the new house, then you lose your job. Oh, crap, now we're stuck with this new house.
In fact, you could do that by having a conversation going on where, movers are carrying couches, and, hey, I got a phone call on my cell phone right here. I open it up, there's mumble.
Or I come back from work while the movers are coming in.
And I got a mopey face because I've been laid off.
Exactly.
Any number of those things. So that's so, and why are we doing this anyway? I mean, it looks like the whole point is to make some sort of message. I think that's what Drew was referring to, about how the American dream is in crisis, there's recessions, people lose jobs. I mean, is that what this is about?
But apparently it doesn't mean you don't buy a house.
That was definitely the point. I mean, I think they thought that they were trying to make these people relatable to what, people in this age range are going through here and now. Like if the Freelings in the original movies represented a sort of 1980s, settled down baby boomer couple, this would be the Generation X equivalent thereof. But the problem is, is they don't quite deal with it in any. Like, all that stuff is very underway. They don't ram it over your head in the original Poltergeist.
Yeah,
like
they waste the hell. Right. Okay, yes.
But
in the original.
But they don't do anything intellectually stimulating with this idea in this one. And, in fact, if anything, it takes away some of the interesting things about the father character that's in the original movies, because he's directly involved with this sort of twisted real estate
in this case, the character in this movie, the character had a management job, I guess, with John Deere, which is a major corporation, right? So he's just lost that job, but they expect that he'll be able to find something else, and that's all struggle, whatever. What was
even the point of mentioning the John Deere thing if he got laid off anyway? Silly.
It made no sense to me at all, other than it's a big corporation we'd recognize. But can I just mention something really crazy to me? And it's because of people writing much closer to these to outlines now, is that I have the feeling that they were just supposed to fill 20 minutes with character crap. And it carried me along, but since it didn't pay off, I realized they were just biding their time with character stuff before the movie's sort of plot gets started. But I found it fascinating. This movie wastes many, many minutes bending over backwards to introduce us to the idea that a parent, in this case the mom, might choose to stay home without making a salary, right? Like a family might decide to budget and blah, blah, blah. They spend so much time trying to explain how it is that a parent might stay home, not make money, a lot of screen time, and almost no time explaining ghosts, which is crazy because at-home parents is a thing that exists in the world, and there have been humans for like 200,000 years, and the jury is still out on ghosts. I mean, I was astonished because once spooky stuff happens, nobody explains a damn thing in this movie. Anyway, I'm sorry, I've been ranting.
No, have at it.
Yep.
I was pissed with the whole thing with the credit card. Like, I understand. I don't know. Going back to the whole idea of the American dream. There was where he's at the hardware store trying to buy some stuff for the house, and he goes through. Oh, that's right. He's trying to buy the squirrel trap, and he's goes through like 3 different credit cards before he gets to one that has some money on it. And then, you know, he's cracking jokes about it, and he's like, goes to his truck, has an angsty moment, and then decides to buy everyone in his house presents.
Really expensive presents.
Yes,
like
exactly.
$1,000
So it's like
phone, for God. Yeah.
You don't have enough money on everything else for the hardware bill, but okay, let's go buy everybody people. If this is a representation of America, like, this is the worst kind of representation. It just makes the average American family come off as bumbling idiots when it comes to managing their own finances, between like the guy not having a job, just buying a house, and now he's already overdrawn on multiple credit cards, and then let's just show, like, is this what someone's idea of the average American family is nowadays? You know, the teenager
I think it's more like we're supposed to shake our head in recognition, and it's possible that, and once again, I kind of feel like this first half hour take place in another movie from the rest of the movie, you know, but you know, in previous films you would have seen the dad go get drunk, but because of whatever it is that they're saying about the middle class, and I'm not saying this is not correct, you know, the acting out that this guy does when he feels impotent is to go out and spend lots of money and prove his power by borrowing money to spend. Fine, except for that it never comes up ever again in the entire movie. I mean, there's nothing. In fact, these guys, other than his embarrassment at the Home Depot, which is grave. I mean, anybody who's ever had to deal with something like that, you know, that's real. But that's all that ever happens. By the end of this movie, spoilers, they're going to try and buy another house, and you know, credit is not their problem. I just find that bizarre.
I like I said, I don't understand why they just didn't allow him to be a real estate agent again. Because I know, they were trying to show something about struggling Americans.
He was like a developer, I think, in the other movie.
But
something. I don't understand why they didn't just keep with the. That is something that still exists. You know,
and actually, they got hit pretty hard. The whole with everything.
You want to talk about a stressful job? And they did that in the vampire movie. With Colin Farrell.
Fright Night, the remake of Fright Night.
Yeah, remember?
Which is a lot better than this.
Yes. Holy God. I don't know. So I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why all these characters are renamed. I mean, I don't get it. I'm not saying don't change stuff.
I have a theory as to why they renamed the family, but you're not going to like it.
Lay it on me. I'm interested.
I think they felt weird about calling the girl Carol Ann because the actress that played Carol Ann died. And
I think it's the curse. I honestly think it's the curse too.
Yeah, I think it's the curse.
You can't talk about the Poltergeist movies without talking about the curse.
Oh, Jason doesn't want to talk about the curse. You
can't not talk about it. Like they all talk.
We talked about it in the last.
The first thing that Craig T. Nelson talks about in interviews when he brings up that movie, he gets all sheepish and weird about it too.
Well, here's the thing, though. I will say this about that the skeletons they used in the original movie were real skeletons, which is why the curse supposedly happened. But I tell you what, as much as that was a terrible thing, they were a lot better looking than any of the skeletons in this movie. I mean, the real skeletons in this movie are so awful.
Yeah.
When I talk about hating CGI, because I don't actually hate CGI, but I hate this kind of CGI. Nothing was scary in this movie. There were no practical effects, or if there were, there was almost none. The tree was ridiculous and over the top and not frightening. The tree was so much more simple, and the only thing that I actually thought, and I guess it's because there was an actual doll there that was creepy, was the clown doll.
Now I do want
So the attic room. The whole attic room was actually a good set.
Yeah, so this is what I do want to say, because, like I said, I don't hate the movie. And some of the reasons I don't hate the movie is because number one, I like the electricity thing. I think the electricity thing is super cool, where there's just certain hot spots in the house where, like, you get zapped by the banister or you touch the knob in the closet and your hair stands up. Those kind of things. And then the whole business of, like, the lamps, the different lights kind of turning on and turning off and all those. I thought that was really fun. I really enjoyed the playing of the electricity.
I actually agree with you on that, Julia. Like, I think, the first movie tapped into the idea that, the paranormal might be in technology, in electricity. This movie, because technology is so much more around us than it was in the 80s. This movie really does take that idea and run with it. And that is the one thing that I think that they did a good job
well, I liked it a lot. I liked it. I liked how they use it with the girl's phone, how she's kind of using her phone to try to track what's going on. I like how they used it with the TV with the hands, like the the little girl touches the TV and then there's all these hands come up. So all that stuff I thought was really neat, and I liked the attic room and the jump scares with the clowns and with the squirrel. I think the squirrel is brilliant. I love the squirrel.
So just explain that for us. The kid, because apparently even poor people in the movies can't bear to be in a house where their children have to share a room. This is a way bigger house than the one that the fairly well-off Freelings had in the 1982 movie. Again, another thing that just enrages me, although I can't figure out why. I don't know why this bugs me, other than I think it's because they move into their house, which is nicer than anything that I ever saw when I was growing up, and they all talk about it as though they have to hold their nose and they're not accustomed to sitting foot in a horrible, horrible suburb like the beautiful suburb that they have moved into.
Well, if perhaps the script was written with a different kind of neighborhood in mind, and for whatever reason they shot there, because they shot in a really nice place. I don't understand why they had that.
Yeah, and all that, like, it's not as nice of a neighborhood. That's why I said it makes.
Yeah, they moved the cemetery out of your neighborhood and into a better neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were saying something, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I just think that whole thing's actually very funny. Like, it's so white bread. I was like, it's so white people problems. Like, half of this movie is white people problems, and that bothers me. And I was like, because the first one, it just, it felt like, like in any ordinary family, and it's just like, who thinks that this is what every normal family is like, and is that what they are?
And maybe it is. Maybe we've gotten way more spoiled. It's possible. I mean, because I have to look inside myself and say the fact of the matter is I shared a room with my brother, and the fact is that
I did too.
We have
not
two
my brother,
girls, and
sister.
they do not share a room. So I don't know, but we don't have three, so who knows? But nevertheless, bigger house. In this case, the boy stays in a fitted out attic, which I think is groovy.
Yeah, but it's creepy. The skylight is super creepy with the big tree on it. I think that's really creepy. And then he's got, so there's this closet, and there's this, like, red ball type of thing, and it turns out that when he pulls it, that it's actually the nose of this pull string clown. And all this box of clowns falls out, and there's all these creepy clowns that were left in the house, which I love that. I thought that was fun. I love that.
Really, they needed that many? They needed a box of clowns? Like, that was one thing. It was
in
just
a
like...
sense, it's a joke. Yeah. Like saying, hey, we know you guys remember the clown, and look, here's an attic full of clowns.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what really bugs me, is that every time there's something that you remember from the first movie, this movie has gone out of its way to say, hey, you remember this? Here's a reference to it, or here's a wink at it, or here's a reversal of it. But that means they take the power out of all those things, which is fine. You could decide to do that. But this movie doesn't add anything, except iPads. And I don't.
Well, this movie weirdly, it doesn't just reference. It heavily references the first one, which it should, because it's a remake.
Yeah.
But they also take the bit of him drinking, the booze and then choking, like puking up a bunch of worms. This is a reference to Poltergeist 2. And then there's the bit in the garage where she falls into the tar pit, which is Poltergeist 3.
Oh my God! Are you stealing from Poltergeist 3? What in the world is going on? Yeah, I. Although it's funny, some of those moments when she's walking around in the, what was that, the garage or the basement?
The garage.
It reminded me a lot of some basement moments in Halloween, as far as how it was staged and stuff like that. But I don't know.
So I thought that stuff was scary when she. I mean, yes, I think it's silly to borrow from Poltergeist 3, but I thought it was pretty scary when she all of a sudden all that stuff starts happening at once, and she gets sucked into that hole in the garage, and then the boy gets sucked up by the tree, and then now the little girl Madison is the ghosts are going to get her. Now, okay, so the squirrel thing real quick, though, was just a jump scare where there's a squirrel in the kids' room, and the dad, who is Sam Rockwell, is hilarious. I think he's really good, actually. He is a comic, genius. So when he gets to play, he gets to have fun. And so with the squirrel thing, he has a lot of fun, like pretending the squirrel attacked him or whatever. That was really cute. I enjoyed that. But anyway, so they go off to whatever their little dinner party with the people who think that the neighborhood that was a good thing they moved the cemetery to a better neighborhood. And so while that's happening, the kids are being swallowed up. And so let's talk about Madison and how she goes over to the other side. Because
Madison,
personally,
the
New Caroline, the little girl. Personally, I love that actress. I think she's really good. I think she's adorable. I liked the idea of. I hated how. I don't like how the other side is portrayed. I don't like the demons. I don't like how the universe is. So I'd like to talk about that.
This was Fred. When she gets sucked into the hole in the other side, into her closet, they show us something we didn't get to see in the original, which is the camera turns around and watches her floating away from the portal into our world, and it's just a sea of blackness with the closet there that she's floating away from. I dug that. I thought that was
very Ghostbusters for some reason.
Yeah, but it was. To me, it was a compelling vision. It was actually.
But she doesn't. But then she gets picked up like those two demons just kind of grab her by the arms. I didn't like that. I thought that was stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to decide whether.
I like light. I like the light beings a lot more than I like these demon creatures. They're kind of weird.
I do too.
Yeah, in this movie, the afterworld is presented as a giant sort of ghost library with.
As a cutscene from Resident Evil 5 is what it's.
Exactly.
It's
so video.
I haven't seen Resident Evil 5, but I'm sure that's exactly what
it's more like Silent Hill because they're actually like actual places of our world, except for they're across the veil, blah blah. Which is very Silent Hill, and it does look like Silent Hill actually. And you're right, or like Resident Evil, but that versus this sort of tangerine-colored afterlife that the people were floating through on blue screen in Poltergeist 2, and I don't know. I like this better than that.
Well, that was terrible. Like that part was horrible. That in Poltergeist 2, I think I have some elementary school pictures, like school pictures, where you're posed, like the portraits that they send you home with. I think I have one that looks just like the Poltergeist, infinite universe area with the family floating around in it. The lasers and everything.
I have a really strong feeling about showing the afterlife in anything. I'm not opposed to it, but I feel like it changes the kind of movie you're watching. It suddenly becomes almost.
Yeah, I don't even think this is the afterlife. I think this is just some weird.
It's limbo.
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. Whatever you see the ghost world, the spirit world, like it changes. Like I think it can work, but it almost becomes heroic mythology. You're extending into the underworld.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about the first movie is that it's just lights. Like they're just light.
But you never see what you don't see what is going on the other side of the light. It's mysterious. Right. And mysterious is also the mysterious is also horrific. We are afraid of the unknown.
My gosh. Yeah, you're right, Drew. When they show the parents, so Carol Ann is talking to them through the TV. They're listening, and so all the action on the 1982 screen, all the action the camera's showing us is the eyes of the parents, all the adults, their eyes moving back and forth as they listen and try to hear and understand what Carol Ann is saying when she's saying, hey, there's somebody else here and all that stuff. Man, that's really, really good, and it gets you right here, right? There's nothing like that here. I did like the thing of floating away from the closet, but after that, I wasn't interested.
I said I'm not opposed to it. I just think it changes the sort of movie you're watching.
And you have to decide if it's better. Is it better?
It's necessarily wrong. It's just different, and I do think it's less scary.
So I want to talk about probably the most important thing. I think we can skip talking about Jane Addams. Jane Addams comes in as the parapsychologist. I have had like a 30-year crush on Jane Addams because she was the coolest girlfriend that Alex P. Keaton had on Family Ties. But that's a lifetime ago. She's fine here. It's a fine performance, fine. But before we get to Jared Harris, Jamie, explain to me, because I think you're onto something. The whole business of the loss of power for the main female, and if you don't hit on it, I want to hit on what we lose.
I feel like there's a few different things. First off, we'll start with Zelda Rubinstein, who, as the first one, she was Tangina, and in the original, and trading her for, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head now. Gerard Harris.
Yeah.
Which, not to say he doesn't do a bad job, but they couldn't have had another female. I guess they put the one female little intern person in there as almost like a love interest of the one of the other males for the interns. They take out, like I said, Tangina's part, and now Tangina's character is basically turned into a man. And then, most importantly, they rob the mother of being the hero that actually saves, the daughter from, this terror.
Okay, so I hear you, Jamie, but I didn't see it that way, because to me, Jared Harris, Kerriganberg, I thought that it was great to have him be a completely different character than Tangina, because you're never going to find another Tangina. So to try to reproduce that would have just been disastrous.
Well, and that's the thing. It didn't have to be Tangina. It didn't have to be the same direction. And I'm not saying he did a bad job. Again, I just kind of was a little disappointed, as with.
I just think they have.
We're trying. If this is supposed to be a movie that is depicting the life of American, of the average American this day and age, I feel like there should be a little bit of a difference with the feminist aspect of things, and there could have been more feminist aspect, especially like Jason was saying with the job, the mom and all that. But I think that I understand and I appreciated their choice of Jared Harris. I thought he was great. I liked the little flirtation between him and Jane Addams, who apparently turned out, eventually you find out that they used to be married. I think that's a lot of fun. And honestly, although I totally see where you guys are coming from with the issue of how the mother being the one connection with Carol Ann in the first movie was so powerful, I think they were like, let's just do something different with this film. And so they twisted it and have it be the little brother who goes and gets her. I thought that was kind of sweet, and it didn't bother me.
He does have an arc where he's scared, and so now he's going to overcome that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, who gives a...
Well, he's actually the main character of the movie. I mean, they've completely reduced
that's the other thing too. Even Carol Ann's part is
Madison, Carol Ann, whatever you want to call her. She's like the brother is the central figure. Like the parents have a drastically reduced importance, which I enjoyed this kid as an actor, and I think he I get as an arc, but the poetry of having the mom be the one that goes into the afterlife, the father is the anchor that stays here. The symmetry of that is so wonderful, and they've lost that.
Yeah, and dumped it completely.
And that's the thing. Ultimately, my biggest problem with this movie is it doesn't really say anything of substance about the American family. And frankly, I feel like the Gerard Harris character is a big part of that. Like, he has like the big thing at the end where he has to go into the light. He has to go into the light.
What the hell? I think it's Jared. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I love him as an actor. I almost like him in everything that he's in. But
it is Jared for sure. Because I just looked on the wiki.
Yeah, I like that he looks more and more like his father every movie he makes. It's really crazy that how much Jared is starting to look like Richard. It's nuts. It's exactly like the.
I also hated the fact that he's a reality TV guy. I hated the fact that they had to tie that in there. I think the people, like, I actually think there may actually be real psychics out there. I'm open to the idea of that. I don't believe any of them are on TV. I think the people who are on those shows are con artists and terrible people, and I just hated the fact that they tied that into this. It really made me grind my teeth the whole time.
I liked it. I liked it because I liked that he was like, you know what? Everybody thinks of me as this TV guy, but I actually want to do this for real, for myself.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
I thought that was kind of fun. He's like, No, I disagree. I think they have a kernel of it, and then it gets, just like with reality TV, there's a kernel of reality, and then it gets TVized or whatever. They get
No. I don't trust those people. They give me, to quote my Buffy, they give me the Wiggins. I don't like them, and I don't like seeing them kind of put up on a pedestal in fiction.
I'm fine with that. I don't have any dog in this particular debate, but I will say that it's absurd to make this character into a reality TV thing. It's just pure.
They did that so they could say this house is clean. I think that's the only reason why they did it.
It just makes me freaking cringe. I don't know who this guy is who wrote this script, and he may, if he were right here, he might go, oh, I didn't want to do that.
No, but I thought that was really cute when the little girl's like, but it's not, though.
Yeah, but that's at the end. I'm just talking about the whole concept. The whole concept is, hey, we're so much cooler in 2015. We all know about ghosts and all that stuff, so the only way we could have a character that did the stuff that Tangina does is if he does it with a wink, and it's all meta, and it's all based around. Great, fine, except for that nobody gives a fuck. There's nothing interesting happening here that makes me feel anything. And the original movie made me cry because JoBeth Williams could smell her daughter on her clothes.
Yeah.
That was the best thing about the whole movie. There is nothing like that here. It's like Hollywood has lost its mind and its soul. I think
you just hit the head on. This is very much a soulless kind of movie.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we actually need to talk about anything else about this movie. We should try. We're coming up on the end of
I think there's, since we're hit on the catchphrase thing, and Jamie and I both said this as we were leaving, they're here really weak. That girl did not put enough. That girl did not, I know she's a kid. Yeah, exactly.
I don't even feel like I don't even think it's her fault. I feel like they just said, hey, kid, hey, they're here. Someone just got here. And, they just turned her and she was just like, they're here.
Yeah, that is the line that needed to be spot on.
And it should have been a little creepy, the whole point.
It's so crazy. There's been,
there was no taglines at all from this movie. At least
you're right.
There was nothing original about it that stood out, and you couldn't get one tagline that was original for it. You could have used "they're here" again, I don't know, or something like
that.
Now.
Yeah,
exactly.
That movie's old. 16-year-olds today, they probably haven't seen they might, but there's no actual shame in they could have just used the same script. For the love of Mike, I mean, there's just literally
no. It was such a great movie. They should have done that.
This is enough like the original movie. That's the thing. There's enough here that is like the original. There are remakes where they're we're just taking the concept and running with it. Like the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is arguably one of the better remakes. They just took the concept of people hiding from zombies in a mall and ran with it. This is not like that. This is a straight-up remake. You know, they may have changed the names of the characters to protect the innocent, but this follows more or less the plot line of Poltergeist. Like, this is a straight-up remake. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, I mean, there's even less that's different about this than, like, the Wolfman remake, which we did a while back, which is a pretty loyal remake in a lot of respects, has even more that's different about it than this does from the original Poltergeist.
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you what. Why don't we go to our final thoughts about Poltergeist 2015? And I really want to know, here's the question as you go into your final thoughts. Not just like, what do you think about this movie, but do you recommend somebody watch this movie? And also, if you could rank the film with the other Poltergeist movies, that would be good too. So lay it on me. I think we started with Jamie. So Jamie, final thoughts, and would you rank? Or did we start with Julia? Did we go? I'm sorry.
We started with Julia. It doesn't matter though.
Julia, Drew, Jamie. So you're off the hook, Jamie. Julia, final thoughts. Would you recommend this movie? Where does it rank? Any of those or all of those? Lay it on me.
I mean, I think if you like horror movies, then I think this is just one of them. The fact is, I don't really like very many horror movies that kind of come out in the last 2 years anyway. So I kind of think that if you've liked the ones that have come out lately, then you'll probably like this one okay too. Because the fact is, like we talked about, the CGI stuff. I mean, the thing I hated the most is whatever. I don't even think it's the afterlife, but it's the limbo. I hated how they had that. I hated how it looked. I hated the creatures. I just hated all of that. So that part, to me, take it out and you have a better movie. I liked the drone thing. I thought that was kind of fun. They sent a drone in to check it all out, which was really cool. But I, again, just reiterating, liked some of the spooky stuff with the electricity and some of the other things. I liked Sam Rockwell. I liked the little girl. I liked the mom, although I do think the character of the mom is much stronger in the first movie. But I like the little boy. I like how he is, his story, and I think he's interesting. So all those are the things I liked. I hated the beginning. I hate the fact that they own a house and they don't have jobs. I think that's completely ridiculous. Or that they bought a house after he lost his job. That's so stupid that it distracted me for much of the movie. I couldn't even get past that. Like, it took me a long time to get past that. But so I give it like a C basically, and I think it's better than Poltergeist 3.
All right. Okay, very good. Julia says, watch it if you dig horror movies, but don't expect much.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're the one who liked it the most.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys are doing a decent ass, I'm sure.
Yeah. Drew, lay it on me.
You know, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, if I was doing the star rating system, I would say like 2.5, I guess.
Sure.
But it's not a good movie. You know, there's nothing particularly memorable about it. If I were to rank it against the other three, you know, it's better than Poltergeist 3. I mean, but that's not saying a whole lot. It's not even in the same ballpark as the original, or it's not even in the same ballpark as Poltergeist 2. It doesn't have anything as crazy or as out there as Reverend Cain. It doesn't have anything as crazy and out there as the worm creature. Like, the special effects in this are lousy. Like, yeah, there's some cheesy, dated special effects in Poltergeist 2, but there's also some really amazing special effects in Poltergeist 2. So, like, there's some memorable things about it. So this is, I guess if we're rating the whole series, yeah, this would be the third best Poltergeist movie, but that's only because Poltergeist 3 is an abysmal piece of shit. So
there we go.
Yeah.
So that's the line, although it's about the last movie we covered.
Oh, I don't hate Poltergeist 3 that much, Drew. That movie made me scared of fluorescent lights for most of my adult life. No, but I feel like, in my opinion, it would go the original Poltergeist, Poltergeist 2, and then this one would probably just beat Poltergeist 3 out by a hair. But I feel like this movie lacks the poetry and the heart that the original had, and I really just, I find myself not able to give it like a clean bill, like where of health, like where the first one had that, deep, almost guttural feeling to about the esoteric and the existential, and while this one just glosses over that and just becomes a superficial piece of crap. So, I mean, there's a few things where if I'm just somebody who enjoys a good horror movie and wanted to go see a haunted house movie, because that's basically what this is, then okay, I could probably enjoy it. And, no one's a terrible actor in this movie. It's not that's part of it's bad. It's the CGI and, just the lack of poetry. Like, there's just, everything is just to set up the actual, special effects, and that's it, which are piss poor in my opinion. So, but yeah, if I was gonna say, if you were having to do something like and you were stuck in your house because it was pouring cats and dogs outside, and you're kind of half watching a movie, like while you're cleaning, this would be a great one to watch it, because it's, all right. But
Interesting that you would say it that way. Yeah, no, that's
a good movie to have watch while it's raining.
Well, that's a place I think for me to start. I mean, because there are many times when I'm in just such a case. It's like, you're in for the night, you're going to watch something. But I find a lot of times that a really crappy movie, like Dracula 3000 or just some terrible, cheesy haunted house movie that was made and, a couple of years ago, nobody noticed it and it came out only on Sci-Fi Channel or whatever. I like those movies a lot more than a movie like this, because this movie, they have every resource at their beck and call to make the best film that they could, and instead they just sort of throw away every opportunity they have, and it makes me really sad. So I admit I grade these on a curve. Like, I understand that this is a better movie in many ways than Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, but I would rather watch Zoltan than watch this, because I just feel like this throws a lot of money and completely forgets to bring any of the humanity that made the original one worth remaking, which drives me nuts. Because also, I'm not a declinist. I do believe very much that there are writers out there, maybe even this writer, because we don't know, this may have been killed by the studio, who understand human emotion, who have parents and children, and are capable of putting their heads into all that. So this movie is a misfire. Do I recommend it? Against what? Against Pitch Perfect 2 and Mad Max Fury Road? I don't recommend it this summer. You might catch it, you'll probably catch it on VOD in a couple months and go, God, Jason made it sound like crap, but it's actually, I really enjoyed that. And if so, then you will have won, my friend. So still better than Poltergeist 3. Actually, no, I would probably rather watch Poltergeist 3 than this movie. But,
me too.
so there we go, because it had the cool stuff with the mirror. So I don't know. And
I disagree with that, but whatever.
Poltergeist 3 is an unabashedly bad film. All right, it is a bad film, and even I think knows that it's a bad film. I don't think that the people making this know that it's a bad film, and that's what troubles me about it. Anyway, all right. I am sorry. I promise to be much nicer to the next movie that we do. And I don't even know what it is. Drew and I have to put our heads together because it is going to be all Drew, baby. We're going to be doing another werewolf retrospective, and I am super excited because we're going to get into some really crazy stuff. I know that without even knowing what the title is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Is that a howl or a burp?
Let's come around now for endorsements. Does anybody have anything to endorse?
Well, I actually enjoyed. I really enjoyed Tomorrowland. We went to see Tomorrowland, the Disney movie. Although it is pretty dark, like it's only about 3 minutes of optimism in it, but the optimism is inspiring or inspirational. We were trying to decide if inspiring and inspirational mean the same thing or if there's like a difference. But anyway, so I think it's a neat film, but it also is kind of like an inconvenient truth. It's like really does show you kind of how sad. You're talking about the death of the American dream or whatever. This is like, looking at the world as if through the whole, concept of people wanting to do whatever it is that's easy and fun and convenient for them, regardless of how much we're trashing the rest of the planet and dooming ourselves in the future. So that's kind of the premise of the film for the most part. And then there's, future stuff, which is really cool. It's a really good-looking movie, and not just because George Clooney's in it.
It's very cool. Drew, do you have anything to endorse?
I'm going to continue on my endorsement of Secret Wars, the new Marvel miniseries. The second issue came out a few weeks ago. It's even better than the first one. They've gone into this now patchwork planet. That's all that's left of the Marvel multiverse, is this patchwork planet, which is lorded over by God Emperor Dr. Doom and policed by his police force of all these alternate versions of Thor. And since it's a universe recreated by Dr. Doom, Susan Richards is married to him. All of Reed Richards' kids are now his kids. His throne is the World Tree. Dr. Strange is his sheriff, and he has a pit filled with Marvel zombies that he throws political dissidents into. If you want lots of Dr. Doom being awesome, this is your cure for the incoming terrible Fantastic Four movie several months in advance.
This sounds a lot like Emperor Doom, which was a Marvel graphic novel.
There's shades of that. I mean, it's because they've really taken the entirety of Marvel history and kind of thrown it into a blender. So, like, you can see all these crazy different versions of Marvel characters, but you also, Jonathan Hickman is one of my favorite mainstream comic book writers now, and he really has a great understanding of all the different Marvel characters, but he also just writes a really great Dr. Doom. And I can't wait for issue 3, which looks like it's going to focus on Reed Richards, so I'm excited about that. And, it makes a very good case in this era where Marvel really seems, it's all about the Marvel movie and, doing things cinematically. It really makes the case for, hey, this is what a comic book can do with these characters, and this is the only things that comic books can do. We can be broader, bigger, more bizarre than Hollywood will ever dare be. And I'm just so in love with it so far. I hope it continues to be as entertaining as it has been.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Maybe I'll go after that. All right, Jamie, endorsements. Do you have anything to endorse for us?
Yes, I do. I have 2 things. Well, first being, which I'm sure everybody's probably already endorsed on the last couple of shows, but I was very proud after wasting my $8.50 matinee tickets this weekend on this Poltergeist movie, which I feel like kind of cut my feminist heart down at the knees. But I felt good that I gave my $10 to go see Mad Max, Fury Road. Like, it was great. Which is funny because I had never seen any of the other Mad Max movies, and the whole, they were like, this is the best feminist movie possibly ever. Totally lured me in, and it won me over, I have to say. But and on top of that, my other endorsement is for Girls Rock Camp, and it's a time for school's about to be out. I know in Texas, I'm sure it's going to be out soon the next few weeks for the rest of the country.
Right,
and
here in Colorado, it's out.
You're already out. See, the kids are out next week, and there's a ton of great programs out there to go send your kids to. But if you feel like me and are kind of tired of seeing movies that degrade the soul of the movement of empowering our young women, you should send your child, your little girl, to Girls Rock Camp. There's camps all over the United States and in other countries as well. We have 4 sessions for Girls Rock Camp Austin, and starting the week after school. And we're also doing our crowdfunding right now campaign on Indiegogo. So it's for our Unlimited Possibilities Scholarship Fund, because more than 42% of our students receive some sort of financial aid to be able to attend camp for a week, where they learn how to play a musical instrument, write a song, get to be in a band with other girls, go through a ton of great workshops on not only just how to be in a band and how to create a logo and screen print T-shirts, but how to identify body image body image issues in the media and things along that nature. And it's just at the end of the week they get to go and play their song with their band at one of the clubs for here. It's downtown
so awesome.
in Austin.
That really does sound like it would be great for
it
our
is
girls.
great. And we in Girls Rock Camp Austin services more than 200 girls a summer, and we're trying to always increase that number. And the changes you see in a kid in just 1 week, where there are girls who barely make a peep. They don't want to talk to anybody. They're shy, and by come Friday, they've not only made a ton of great friends, but they're center stage rocking out, like singing their heart out, or playing a little solo on their guitar or whatnot. And you just see a huge change in these girls. And so if you don't have a girl to send and you're still looking to help, we have our Indiegogo campaign right now. So if you check on the Limited Possibilities Fund for Girls Rock Camp Austin, anything helps. So
there is a Girls Rock Camp Colorado, right?
Yes, there's Girls Rock Camp Denver. So
wow. Well, that's amazing. Okay, well, you should definitely post about it on the page as well. That's cool. Fantastic. And there is a Girls Rock Camp Denver. I just found that myself. That's pretty neat. Okay, thank you so much. That's wonderful and an unusual endorsement. All right, my only endorsement are, first off, something really cool coming up in Denver in a couple of weeks. The Shining is going to be playing live at Red Rocks. Red Rocks Amphitheater, which is literally, in I don't even know what would we call this. It's the Rocky Mountains, but it's the very edge of the Rocky Mountains, right here.
It's the foothills. The foothills.
Yes, it's in the foothills.
The Front Range is what this whole area is.
It is a perfect place to see The Shining, and that's I think on June 12th. Hang on. Yeah, it is on Tuesday, June 9th. The Shining will be at Red Rocks Amphitheater Tuesday, June 9th, 7 p.m. Basically, they have a band opening up, and then they start playing the movie at dusk. That promises to be super cool.
That'll be like when we were in D.C. a billion years ago, we went and saw Nosferatu at the, what's it called, the Wolf, what's it called?
It was a Wolf Trap.
Wolf Trap, yeah. And it was like an outdoor theater, and they had a live symphony playing the music. It was so cool. That'll be fun. I wish I could go with you.
I know. I'm really sorry, but those things happen, and I'm sorry. Okay. The other thing that I would endorse is Big Finish. So I endorsed this last week, but I had only listened to half of it. So Big Finish Audio Productions. I listened to the entire Dark Shadows miniseries, which was 13 episodes. And it's so great. That's 13 like half-hour episodes. Some of them are supersized, but basically half-hour episodes. It was a true soap opera, where, they have all these different characters. There's all these relationships. There's tension in every storyline. There's vampires and werewolves and witches.
Oh, my.
But at its heart, it's basically just a weird soap opera about a bunch of people who live in this little town on the edge of Maine. So the guys writing this realized that the way to properly make Dark Shadows resonate is to realize that Dark Shadows is essentially Broadchurch with vampires and werewolves. And so that's what it is. So if you like Broadchurch, but you like spooky supernatural stuff, you should totally listen to the miniseries Bloodlust, which you can buy as an audiobook, or you can get it straight off of Big Finish Productions online audio. It was well worth listening to. So I really dug that. So that seems like it'll do it for the week. We are very thankful that you have suffered with us through this entire retrospective, and we hope that you're here next week.
And Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, Jamie, it was really wonderful hearing you, and thank you for bringing such a great perspective. It was really
well.
Cool.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy coming on the show.
Good. And, okay, if you are listening, leave us a review if you haven't done so, or if you have done so. It really doesn't matter. Leave as many reviews as you can. Drag your friends. Go kidnap your friends. Throw them into the trunk of your car. Drive somewhere that has Wi-Fi. Turn on the iTunes. Tie them down. Make them listen to our show. And then, and I apologize if I did not put you up to this. It was just this idea that popped into your head. But we need and want to hear from more people, because that's what keeps us going. We love your reviews. We love talking to you on Facebook. We're so excited. We have more people every week, and it is awesome. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.